Hey guys, I'm Jackie Brubaker, host of the Love You Even More podcast. I'm an author, speaker, 2-time Emmy Award winner, and entrepreneur. I'm a Jackie of all trades and a master of some. Each week, I bring on people from all walks of life to talk to them about their inspiring stories in the fields of self-development, relationships, business, and how you can love yourself even more. For more about me and the podcast, visit us at loveyouevenmore.com. Hey guys, I'm Jackie and welcome to the Love You Even More podcast. Today we are going to talk about how to rid ourselves of victimhood. So I think we've all met a victim. I think we've all been a victim. I think we have actually been victimized, and I think we have imagined that we are victimized. And victimhood is actually very complex. It typically comes from experiencing trauma, but I'm going to go down with a lot of different reasons why this happens and how to actually help yourself start taking accountability for yourself to get you out of victimhood so that you don't have to live this kind of existence of feeling like nothing's ever going to work out for you. Like you've tried and it's just not going to work, which, my God, we've all said at one point. So first of all, let's start off with what is a victim mentality. A victim mentality is when someone feels that bad things just keep happening to them no matter what. At the root of this mentality is that none of these circumstances or situations are their fault. Now, again, if you've been a victim of some kind of trauma in your life, something did happen to you. Something bad did happen to you. And if you don't get the kind of support, therapy, and trauma healing that you need, it can make you feel so worried and so expectant that you're going to be traumatized again, that you will continue to just sort of be in this victim mentality and never try to do anything ever again, right? Never try to put yourself out there. But if you do, you're just like, yeah, but it's not going to work. And like we all know, like where energy flows, like where thought goes, energy flows. So, 3 core beliefs of victim mentality are these: that bad things just happen to me no matter what I do, that bad things are other people's fault, not mine, and I can't change what happens, so there's no point in trying. So you've heard people say this, right? It feels true to them. And I just did this episode on the stories we tell each other, or ourselves, I'm sorry, and each other about this. So people who are living in a victim mentality are just constantly putting themselves down, even if they're joking. They don't look forward to the future. They're angry or resentful of other people's good fortune. They tell the same negative stories over and over, or they tell stories that were good times, but they don't have any new stories. Have you ever noticed that? Where it's like old stories of good times, but never after a certain period of time. Typically, that's when someone actually had the trauma, is when they stop telling new stories. So if someone's constantly talking about like, when I was a kid, they were probably really happy. But if they never talk about like their teenagehood or their 20s and beyond, something very drastic happened. And it's very easy too for people who are listening to people who are considering themselves as victims to feel empathetic. Of course you would. Like, I am so sorry that happened. And let me listen. How could I help? But the problem is that they don't want help. They just want to be in this story. They want to be in their victimhood because it's their safe spot and it's their now identity. So let's see. Some other aspects or traits that they have are self-pity and a strong sense of entitlement. They're often defensive and sensitive to criticism. They lack empathy for other people's problems because if it's not about them, then really, what are we talking about? They're overly concerned about keeping score and fairness. They always have a reason why proposed solutions would never work. And I know we're all kind of guilty of that. They seem preoccupied with past traumas. They believe everyone else has it easier than they do. They're extremely risk averse. They obsess over negative situations, but seemingly uninterested in solving them. They never accept personal responsibility or criticism from others, no matter how gently it's phrased. And they're quick to judge others, seeing them as either friends or enemies. And God forbid you do anything wrong, because now the victim is seeing you as an enemy. So don't mess up. I don't mean to be laughing about this because there are so many traits in that, that I have definitely felt myself too, because we've all been here. The difference is when you have a victim mentality, how long are you holding on to it? How long is it actually you're actually playing the victim? So while it can be hard to sympathize with someone who's so defensive, many of these traits are developed as a result of traumatic experiences. These individuals often feel that people are untrustworthy or out to get them. And because of this, they keep their guard up and harping on negative events to avoid emotional vulnerability. They just don't learn to trust again. So, like I mentioned, trauma is truly the culprit of this. Whether the trauma happened to them or the trauma was circumstantial, it was traumatic enough for them to feel like they lost power. So now their power is in keeping themselves safe and keeping themselves guarded. And that means being defensive. That means always thinking nothing's going to work because they're scared to try. Because when they've tried, they were maybe victimized. Maybe they had trauma. So this is really interesting. Okay, so in experiments on learned helplessness, researchers often put animals into an environment where they received an electric shock. And I'm a huge animal person, so like none of this makes me happy. But people are typically exposed to loud noises when they do these experiments. But whether a person or animal, most stop trying to escape a situation once their first few efforts fail. Even when a solution is available, they continue to believe they can't do anything about it. And their feelings of helplessness place them in the victim role, even though they're the ones in control. Doesn't this sound like life? Have we not all been there where we're like, I hold the key to unlocking the cage I've put myself in because of trauma or circumstance or relationship? I hold the key, but the key is named freedom. And if you don't know what freedom looks like, because when you've tried to have freedom, you've been traumatized, you're never going to use it. You're never going to try to leave that cage. That cage is everything you know, and you don't want to like mess it up. You don't really want to be in the cage. You know you want more than this, but it's terrifying. And that's we can all empathize with that. But there has to be a time where we either just, we try to leave the cage. So, okay. Why would someone want to give up control in a situation? Well, when human beings do anything, they typically do it for one of two reasons: to avoid a consequence or experience a reward, just like experiments show us. And on some level, then the victim behavior must fulfill one of these two motivators. The question is, what do we get from a sense of powerlessness that we would have to give up to take control? So here are some circumstances that might result in developing a victim mentality. Like I mentioned, trauma. The next one is manipulation. Some people enjoy the attention and sense of control that victimhood brings, even though they feel like they lack control over the circumstances in their life. They thrive on the validation and sympathy from others. Being able to get other people to stop and help them, or at the very least, feel sorry for them, helps them retain a sense of importance and control. And that's where the entitlement comes in. Now, I'm a little hesitant to say this word, but if this sounds familiar to you, then yes, you've probably been in a narcissistic relationship. Narcissists are the epitome of victimhood mentality. Most of them love to play the victim, especially if they're covert narcissists. They are like, woe is me, this happened to me. Now, this is not an episode on narcissism. And trust me, there are episodes on narcissism on this podcast, and you can find them, and they're amazing. But when we use our victimhood to manipulate or to get sympathy, and we do it forever, that's not fair to the other people who are just like, wait, I was just trying to help you, and now, it's always going to be about you. Like, well, what about me? Like, that's not kind of fair in this friendship or relationship. So we won't get into that, but most all covert narcissists they have victim mentality, probably because they were traumatized. All right. But let's not start feeling anything about that. Okay. So then the next thing is they lack accountability, which we also talked about, but people may respond to low standards of or expectations by playing the victim, whether because someone else has always stepped up to take responsibility or because people don't expect much. Being out of control becomes comfortable. Victimhood provides anonymity. I don't think I said that right. And protection. When you're never at the wheel, things are never your fault. And avoidance. Sometimes we're more afraid of our own success than we are of our own failure. Giving up responsibility for ourselves and our actions makes us feel like we don't have to be accountable for what we say we want. Chasing our dreams requires a degree of vulnerability, resilience, self-confidence, and willingness to grow, none of which you need if you just play the victim card, and none of which is ever going to help you get any further than the cage that you're in, that you have put yourself in. And I've certainly talked about this on the podcast, but the more healing that I do, the more I find where I've played the victim completely in my life, where old circumstances and trauma from my past have held me back, and I just, I got gypped and woe is me. And it's like, yeah, that did happen, and that was awful. But we're not there, and it's not doing anything to you now. Yes, the emotional feeling, and that's why we go to therapy, guys, and that is why we heal. But like, there is more to life than staying stuck in what happened to you. And, when we're just not trying to move forward because of fear or because it's easier to just get the sympathy, that's just not, sorry, but that's just really emotionally immature. And I think we all probably know that, but just in case you didn't, it's incredibly emotionally immature and not worth it. It's just not worth it, guys. Like, there's more. Okay. The other thing is avoidance. I just talked about avoidance. Just kidding. Sorry. I'm going down a list. Okay. So 7 consequences of a victim mentality are: when you give up responsibility for your life, that's not all you give up. Victim syndrome is associated with decreased well-being, poor social connections, and self-destructive behavior. Some of those things are difficulty sustaining personal relationships, feeling guilty, ashamed, or inadequate, feelings of being stuck in life, inability to feel pleasure or positive feelings, hopelessness about the possibility of change or getting help, fear that everyone is out to get you or will take advantage of you, and your inability to enjoy successes when they do occur. I mean, these are real things, guys. Like, I know I suffer with the fear of success. There's like a huge part of me that has always expected success, and I've had success, but then there's this other part of me that's like, what if it never happens? Like, what if I never have anything else happen to me? Which is crazy because I don't live in a vacuum, and neither do you. So let's talk about how to release victim mentality, because we don't want to hold on to this. And once you start realizing that you are suffering with victim mentality, it's kind of incredible. Like, there is this pop that happens where you're like, oh, shoot, I didn't realize how gross that was. Like, I didn't realize how icky and old and heavy that was, that I've been carrying in my body. That story I've been telling myself and others. Like, again, like, go back to a previous podcast about the stories we tell ourselves. How that's actually been playing out in my life, how I could be somewhere else or be with someone else or be doing something else that I'm actually really happy doing, had I just tried. And even if you fail, it doesn't mean like, oh, I'm a victim because I failed. It means good. You learned why it didn't work the first time. Let's try it again. Let's try something else. Keep going. So, ironically, recognizing the symptoms of a victim mentality in your own life might make you feel more hopeless. But hold on. Remember, though, that no one is born a victim. Victim syndrome is a learned pattern that helps us cope with trauma. And the way to release it is to find other ways to make yourself feel safe and in control. So, one of those ways is taking responsibility for your life. The opposite of victimhood is accountability. While your circumstances may not be your fault, they are your responsibility. That doesn't mean that you've caused it. It just means, and maybe you did. So that's okay. Forgive yourself. Okay. We all mess up. Maybe you didn't know you were going to mess up. Maybe you didn't know that was messing up. It's okay. It's time to forgive yourself. It just means you have to have the ability to respond to your circumstances and change the outcome. Even if you think the outcome is done, it's not, because it keeps going. It's happening right now. Your life is happening right now. Your story is still being written. So start by identifying one or two small things that you can do to make a positive difference in your life. Work with someone like me, like a coach, someone that will help you find different ways to make an impact step by step, little by little in your life. And this is something that's really part of my self-worth, is finding the silver lining, because I truly, deeply believe that the universe is only going to give you what you need or something better. So like if something doesn't work out, even, wow. Okay, I'm sorry. I don't know if you guys heard that, but that was a cash register like app on my phone, and I guess something cool just happened. But let's just take that as like a little sign from the universe that like shit's gonna work out, okay? I love that. I love that that just happened. But like, oh, I don't even know where I left off. But when you find the silver lining, when you look for the silver lining in your life, and you take what didn't work out and think, nope, you know what? I was protected. I was saved from something. There's something bigger and better waiting for me. It is. This is not a joke. The universe is not playing with you. It is trying to help you. So surrender and just be like, cool, I'm going to find the silver lining of what bad thing happened, or my fear, or whatever. There is always a silver lining, and that is what hope looks like. Hope is so powerful and so strong, and when we start losing that hope, we need to go help ourselves find it again, whether that's reaching out to a coach, reaching out to your friends, your family, a spiritual advisor. You need to remember why you can move forward, why you don't have to stay stuck in the cage. So, one other thing there's a few more things, but one thing that's really important too is practicing saying no. A lot of us have turned into people pleasers after big trauma because, again, we just want to be liked. We don't want to get in trouble. We don't want to have anything bad happen to us. So we just say yes to everything. Yes, 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 I'll help you. Yes, you want your kids watched? Sure. Oh, sure. Like, here's some money, whatever it is. Y'all start saying no. Stop saying yes and start saying no. No, I can't make it. Oh, why? I'm just not able to. Sorry about that, but have a great time. Why aren't you making it? Because you need to go home, because you feel like you need to rest, because you've worked an 80-hour week and you need some self-care. Whatever the reason is, I just want you to say no and then like think about it. And if you want to say yes like a little bit later, maybe like the next day. Just say like, hey, no, I can't give you an answer right now, but let me get back to you on that. Yeah. That's kind of like a no, like a very soft no. But if you do decide you want to do something, because it's actually what you want to do, what makes you feel empowered and happy and excited, not because you're helping someone because you feel like you have to, or someone will stop liking you if you don't do it, or FOMO in any situation, say no and take care of you. I think one of the best things about getting older, and I have loved getting older. I actually never really wanted to be young. When I was young, I just wanted to be old. I was like, I don't want to be a kid. This is awful. I have no bank accounts. I have no car. I just want to be an adult. So like what's nice about getting old is that you just prioritize your well-being, your sleep, and your quiet time at home so much more. And nobody cares if you say no because you're like, yeah, you know what? I gotta just like Netflix and chill tonight by myself. I'm sorry, but have fun next time. People are gonna get it. Okay. So that just really goes in with just being nice to yourself. And maybe you haven't worked on that a lot because, if your victimhood runs really, really, really deep and it's turned into something really, really ugly, which it can, it just can. Sometimes we just don't even know how bad it is until we start little by little seeing it. And then it's this big, huge boulder that we have been lugging around with us. And it's not fun, it's not easy. But when you actually just start doing very small, nice things for yourself, like little baby rewards, like, you know what? I do want that vanilla latte. I'm going to go get it, even though it's $6. Jesus, why is everything? I mean, lattes are like $6.50 now, at least in LA. Oh my God. That's a treat. Okay. It's a treat. Like, do that for yourself. Be nice to yourself. Congratulate yourself on the tiny wins of your day. I don't care if the win is I got through my list of things to do today, or I got the most important thing done on the list today. I want you to be nice to yourself in whatever way that looks. If that's more self-care, if you need, to take that bubble bath and that is what's being nice to you today, please do it. Or if your body is screaming to you, a lot of times, my body will scream to me and I'll be like, yeah, I should probably go to the chiropractor, but it's expensive and he's always closed the day that I want to go in. And I just give myself all these excuses and I continue to stay in pain. But I could be nice to myself and be like, no, I'm worth going to get my back adjusted because I need it. You know what I mean? Hear what I'm saying? Okay. So if you are not the one dealing with the victim mentality, maybe you're aware of your victim mentality, but it's, getting better, or maybe you don't have that right now, which is fantastic. Congratulations. I'm so glad you're listening to this because you can help someone. And I think that's like so part of podcasting, right? Is that like, maybe this podcast is for you, but maybe it's for someone else and it's going to help you learn how to deal with someone else and like what you can do to help. So, if someone you care about has a victim complex, it can be emotionally overwhelming, as we know, and you may feel frustrated or like nothing you do seems to make a difference, and you may resent the constant complaining because we do. You may also feel that on some level, they just want to stay where they are. And depending on your relationship with them, their victimhood and helplessness may affect you directly. So, if this is the case, it's important to take care of yourself even while you try to support that other person, because we put on our air mask or whatever it is in the plane first, and then we help others. It was so clunky. So, here are some ways that you can help someone with a victim mentality without compromising your own well being. Okay. So you're going to help them brainstorm solutions. And I say this to an extent, okay? Give them some solutions, but if they keep shooting you down, get out. You don't need to do this. You're not a savior. You're nobody's therapist or mother, okay? You're here to help a little bit. If they don't want to take it, let them, all right? That's their prerogative. Okay, but you can encourage them and remind them of their past achievements, which is so important. People need validation. They need to be reminded that they're great and that they're worthy and that they should try something new, that they should get out of their comfort zone. Excuse me. Affirm and validate how they feel, especially if they talk about the trauma that created the mentality. This is really important because sometimes when we are still really working out trauma, and I don't even care how long ago it happened, a lot of people don't even work that trauma out for decades, like me. I really hadn't worked out my trauma from high school for like 18 years. I just didn't. I was like, making jokes about it because that was my way of coping, was deflecting and making a joke. Like, ooh, I slept with my teacher. What? Who jokes about that? I did. Yep. But encourage them to get the professional help that they need. Because if they are still talking about this trauma, they have probably not really worked on it and they really do need help. And you cannot be their everything, but you can certainly help listen and send them in the right direction. And that's what good friends and partners do. But you also need to set clear boundaries with them. You may be willing to lend an ear on occasion, but don't let them keep you up all night or be unsupportive about your success because they will be, because it's not about them. And if you see someone with a victim mentality, it's kind of like looking at someone who's got like a bottomless hole inside of them, where like no matter what you're giving them, no matter what kind of support, what kind of like gold you're feeding them, they're just like, yeah, no. And you're like, are you kidding me? Like, I am giving you gold. By the way, that's what's hard about being a therapist, too. I'm not going to lie. Sometimes you're just like, well, okay, I guess I just gave you gold, but you're not going to do anything with it. See you next week. So don't get caught up in feeling like you've been sucked dry because that's what'll happen. They will. They will suck you dry if you are not careful. So maintain your boundaries. And then point out specific unhelpful behaviors. Calling them a victim would likely make things worse. So don't say that. And if you've ever said that, you know what happens. It's not pretty. However, it may be helpful for them if you point out actionable steps or encourage them to seek the positive. And keep up with your own self care, like I mentioned before, especially if this is like a partner. Supporting another person's emotional well being can be really draining. And make sure you prioritize spending time with your people and activities that fill your cup. Because, yeah, as someone who's living in a victim mentality, like I mentioned, has this bottomless hole that just can never get filled. And it is up to them to fill it. It is up to them to heal the bottom of the hole so they can start filling it with things that actually heal them. Okay. And with that, I just want you to take your life back into your own hands. It can be hard to feel like your life is under your control when bad things happen. And this is especially true when success feels slow. This is for either helping the victim or if you feel that you are dealing with a victim mentality. It can feel like failure is overwhelming and that it's just impossible to try. However, it's important to remember that very few of these things that we experience in life are personal. It's really, truly probably not about you. And I really am glad that that's been like going around for the last few years is like, it's not personal. If someone does something and you feel like it's personal, like 9 times out of 10, it's not. 9 times out of 10, they are dealing with their own thing. 9 times out of 10, they had a really bad, bus ride and like suddenly showed up and were just in a bad mood. You didn't create it. This is their stuff. Like whether you're the victim or you're not the victim, it is their stuff. So the people around you, they do care for you and they want you to do really well in your life if you are feeling you have the victim mentality. But more importantly, it's critical that you value your own happiness and well being, even if you feel like that's really hard to do. You are so worthy of love and achievement and happiness and peace. I think for a lot of people who are dealing with a pretty heavy victim mentality, they don't feel a whole lot of peace. And what little peace they've created is still part of the cage that they live in. And so, real peace is being able to have freedom, is being able to be you and not feel judged for it. And the only way to get to a place where you don't feel judged for circumstance or people is that if you start really healing that trauma and healing why you feel that you're a victim in your life and why you haven't been able to get out of that victim mentality. Even if there's not a single thing that you can do to change your situation, although there probably is, you can always control your attitude. And that doesn't mean faking it, by the way. Like, I don't want want you to sit there and fake being positive when deep down you're like, yeah, this is bullshit. Like, positive affirmations, as someone who literally has a positive affirmation baby accessory line, positive affirmations can be a little bit, oh, how do I want to put this? Unhelpful if you don't believe them. And sometimes you have to fake it till you make it, right? Sometimes you have to just be like, I do love myself. I do love myself. But if you're saying I do love myself, but you don't believe it, let's reframe that. Let's reframe why you could love yourself. I want you to third person it, right? I want you to sit there in the third person and be like, why should I love myself? Start digging. And I want it to be as simple as you can possibly get it. I should love myself because, you know what? I keep waking up every day. I keep doing this life thing. I am a really good cook, or I'm learning how to cook and I'm getting better every day. I love myself for trying. I love myself for taking a shower. Well, I mean, it depends on like where you're at with your scale of like low to high, but I want you to just really take into account why you should love yourself and start building upon that. Because if we're telling ourselves, these positive affirmations and we don't believe them, it's just going to make you feel worse. And that's not the point. The point is to remind yourself why you're worth it. So it's a good way to help like us control our attitude is to just get in a better spot with our feelings. And finding meaning in the midst of the victim mentality and the path forward will open. If you just find that meaning for why you want to do life still, right? This is not a suicide episode, but like why it's just harder right now, but it doesn't have to be, or I'm just scared of change. I've lived in this cage for so long. I'm just scared. What would it look like if things changed? I don't want to lose what I know. I don't want to lose my safety. I don't want to lose my comfort. But what if something beautiful has been waiting for you? It would offer you relief. It would offer you newness and happiness. And again, peace, so important. It could be a beautiful, beautiful life if you just decided to take a chance on yourself. If you just thought, you know what, I'm going to go to therapy a little bit, or I'm going to work with a coach like myself, and I'm going to work on recognizing where this trauma is, big or small, and start healing it so that I can start actually like filling the hole, so I can really start to care about myself and believe that I can do more, believe that I can find that partner, believe that I can have that career, believe that I can have that life that I really want, that I've been so scared to have. Because we can all say we want something, but if we are holding ourselves back because we feel like a victim still, however conscious or subconscious it is in our brains, we're never going to get what we want. And we're going to sit there and be like, see, I told you it could never happen for me. Look, it's not happening. Sound familiar? Yeah. It's really easy to convince ourselves that something isn't right for us, that it isn't going to happen, that it could never happen for us. The more we lean into not trying to change our lives or heal ourselves or gain the self-worth and the confidence to do what we need to do, make ourselves happy. So that is the podcast today. I hope that helped. I know it's a big one. I know it's heavy. This is not a one podcast, and you're done and you're no longer a victim. That's clearly not what we're trying to do here. I'm trying to just create awareness for people and for the people that you love that, could be going through this, could be dealing with this. It's heartbreaking to watch people who are living in this, big or small, with their victimhood. And we just want to help, and we just want to help ourselves. So if you do need help with this, if you do recognize that you are the one with a victim mentality, or you need support in dealing with a partner or a person in your life that has victim mentality that's close to you, please reach out. I'm so happy to talk to you about this, help with coaching, and get you into a better place and a healthier place. But that is the podcast today. Be kind to yourself and be kind to others. and I will see you next time.